The history of the Ford Falcon EL. The EL Falcon was the last of the fifth generation of the E-Series Falcons and was built for only 2 years from 1996 to 1998 in Ford's Geelong factory up until the release of the AU Falcon that same year. But a quick rundown on the E-Series first, which was released in 1988 with the EA, which sold well but ended up with a bad reputation, being one of the least reliable of the Falcon models. This was replaced with the EB in 1991, which was said to be a more reliable car. Then there was the ED in 1993, which didn't change much from the EB. After this, there was some major styling updates with the release of the EF in 1994. With a much more streamlined look, it didn't even have a grille, which was part of the Ford styling at the time, with some overseas Ford models like the Taurus and Sierra also not having grilles, although the Sierra was about 10 years earlier. Getting back to the car this is all about, the EL, the styling was very similar to the EF, but it actually got a grille, at least with the base GLI and Futura models, which is probably good for a car sold in one of the hottest countries in the world, where you want all the cooling you can get. Other than that, it got an updated front end and tail lights, which were ever so slightly different. Only die-hard Ford fans can tell the difference from the rear, whether it's an EF or an EL. Like the EL that came before it, it had two motors. Most of them got the Ford 4-litre overhead cam straight 6, making 157 kilowatt at 4900 RPM and 357 Nm of torque at 3000 RPM. It was a very torquey over-square engine. This was an Australian designed and built motor along with all the other Falcon 6-cylinder motors, but if you go back far enough, this motor was originally based on an American designed Ford 144 straight 6 from 1960. Although the EF came with a wasted spark coil-on plug ignition system, the EL went back to using a distributor due to being more reliable. The later AU Falcon then went back yet again to a coil pack system. These motors were generally very reliable, but were known for blowing head gaskets when they were overheated, which makes sense for such a long cast iron block with an aluminium head. The reason being, the aluminium head expands at a much faster rate than the iron block and breaks the seal of the gasket when the motor is overheated. This problem was fixed in the AU Falcon with a multi-layer steel gasket, and yes, this AU MLS head gasket will fit in an EL. The other motor that was available in the EL was the 5-litre, well technically a 4.9 litre or 302 Windsor V8. The reason that these are called Windsors is because they were originally built in Windsor in Ontario, Canada. But they were produced in Cleveland, Ohio as well in the US. And this gets even more confusing because there was also a Ford Cleveland V8, which is a completely different motor, also built in Cleveland, Ohio. And not only that, it could also be a 302. And these were also fitted to Australian Falcons up until the XE. And just to make it even more confusing, the Cleveland V8 was also built in Geelong in Victoria. And if that's not confusing, I don't know what is. Anyway, the 5-litre Windsor in the EL was a cast iron overhead valve motor making 185 kilowatt at 4500 RPM and 402 Nm of torque at 3100 RPM in the XR8 and 20 kilowatt less in the lower trim level Falcons. This was an undersquare motor with a bore of exactly 4 inch and a stroke of exactly 3 inch. That's 102mm by 76mm for everyone who isn't American or has spent way too much of their time working on American cars, or cars with American motors. So most of the Falcons, regardless of whether they were a 6 or an 8, got a 4-speed BTR automatic transmission, with the 6 getting an M9 3LE and the 8 getting an M9 7LE. I reckon the BTR is a pretty good transmission, at least for a stock Falcon, and they are better than autos that they put in Holdens of the same era. Variants of the BTR were also used in various SsangYong models and the Maserati 3200 GT and Quattroporte. Yes, it's true, Maseratis use Falcon transmissions, Or if you want to be even more cruel, you could say Maseratis use a SsangYong transmission. But the EL was also available with a Tremec T5 5-speed manual, which is a Mexican-built Borg-Warner T5. So the base model Falcon was the GLI. This was the most common model, with roads being filled with them back in the day. The next model up was the Futura, which this one is. It got electric windows in the front, as well as a few other bits. After that, there was the Fairmont and Fairmont Ghia, which were more luxurious and had different front ends with fake grills. As these used the old hoods from the EL series Fairmonts, they were also fitted with more luxury items like a chrome grille, chrome boot trim, chrome down the sides and extra gauges on the dash, as well as various other luxury items. Ghia's got a full leather interior and various fake wood trim on the interior, and a leather steering wheel with real wood inserts, although the wood inserts on the steering wheel may have been optional. There was also a hood ornament with a G for Ghia. Then there was the sports model, the XR6, which was the performance 6-cylinder, which had different front ends with quad headlights, and used the old EF style hoods, but now they had fake hood vents on them. Different fake hood vents to the EF as well. Some of the XRs were optioned with body kits, and this makes them look even better. There was an XR8, which was a V8 version of the XR. Later models had better headers and a Ford Explorer intake to up the power. There were two long wheelbase luxury models, which were technically called the NL and DL rather than the EL, which was stretched 260mm over the sedan. These had a different rear end and boot section and used a squarer station wagon rear doors. The Fairlane and Fairlane Ghia can be spec'd similarly to the shorter wheelbase Fairmont and Fairmont Ghia. The LTD was the top model luxury car and got even more chrome and a fancier grille, and an LTD hood ornament. Then there was a limited run of 272 Tickford Ghias built. These used the SVO GT40 motor. The reason for the GT40 name is because it had heads that were built to flow as good, if not better, than the Ford GT40 race car. These heads were also used on some Mustang Cobras. It also had headers and a larger throttle body. This pushed the power up to 200 kW on 470 Nm of torque, with a top speed of 232 km an hour. It could achieve this speed due to its new carbon-wrapped aluminium tail shaft. As standard Falcons electronically limited to 180 km an hour to stop the tail shaft snapping and going through the floor. I believe that these are the only E-Series Falcons to ever have 17-inch wheels too. One thing I have to mention is there were never any E-Series utes or vans. These were all XG or XH models based off the old XF, but with updated styling so they could remain relevant next to the more modern looking sedans and wagons. The EL was replaced with the controversially styled AU Falcon in 1998, and when put next to each other you can really see how different the styling between the two cars is. The AU used what was called the New Edge styling, and personally I think the AU is a really good looking car, unlike most Australians did in 1998. The EL still has a pretty square body rather than the much rounder AU. So is an EL Falcon a good car to buy in 2025? Well, I reckon they are reliable and an easy car to work on. It's still very easy to get parts for them too, even though they are starting to get old now at 29 years old. They used to be everywhere on Australian roads, but you don't see many of them on the road these days. While not as well built as the AU, they are still a pretty reliable car, and this one is still going even after having a pretty hard life and doing a lot of towing. And now it's a pretty worn out car, but it's still going, which is not something that can be said about most other 29-year-old cars. This is also a dual fuel car, meaning that it can be run on either petrol or LPG. It was converted back in the day when the Australian government was offering subsidies for people to convert their cars to run on LPG, as it was a cleaner fuel and better for the environment, and cheaper too. But it also reduces the power of the car. Ford even made factory LPG powered cars starting with the AU. But these days LPG hasn't been subsidised for a long time, and it's much harder to get, especially in the country. So this one is now run solely on petrol. Ford Falcon EL station wagon, 0 to 60 mile an hour.